So I'm delighted now to be joined by Paolo Ribotta, who's the head of Global Corporate and Commercial for Generali Group. Thank you for coming to join us, and you've literally just stepped off the stage from the presidential debate.
Yep.
So I guess, how did it go for you?
I think it went very, very well. I mean, we'll see with the polls, how do the polls talk about this, as it is a presidential debate and we are all competing for be president. But apart from the joke, I think it was a very interesting panel, and my view is that we have basically talked about more or less very similar themes, however, with a slightly different approach one another. And you can see probably the differences about the cultures on one side and what resonates us more, and it might be different company to company.
Okay, and what were some of the themes that were being brought out?
Well, I mean, the one of the themes, I think the overarching theme throughout the debate was how will the evolution and the transformation that we are living, all of us, will affect and will impact our own industry as insurance. And the point that were coming out of the presidential debate were various. I think one which I think it was really very important is the value creation and the business model of the evolution of the business model of customers, and how are they creating value for their own customers, and in turn for the insurance industry, how do we ensure that we keep on being relevant, because I think that one big theme is the relevance of the insurance industry. And my view there is that, I mean, insurance industry is about contingent capital and services, but whilst probably for many, many years the capital side has been more prominent, it's really shifting very, very much into the service providing. And it's not just, of course, the service we already know, the claim service, the loss prevention service, the operational service when you're running an international program. But I think it goes much beyond, and new technologies will help us quite a lot. It goes much beyond that, and it is about very much partnering with clients to make sure that we can be relevant for their own value proposition and for their own customer experience.
And listening to the debate myself, there was a lot of focus about the changing role of risk managers within the customers that you're dealing with, and how they operate within their own corporations. Any comments around that?
Well, I think that this is a big challenge, if you want to call it this way, but I look at it from an opportunity perspective. If you look broadly in the economies, the most successful companies are the companies that have embraced enterprise risk management abroad and brought it to the strategic level. So whenever risk managers are large, whether they are those that are here today or somebody else, whenever they are really baked and intimately connected with the strategic decision making of companies, is there where we see the successful companies. And others who do not have this, who have gone the opposite way, who have gone only to insurance buyers, if I may, and insurance buying, very much opportunistic, they may not be the most successful companies.
And I guess, I know a big part of the debate was to try and look forward to 8-10 years ahead, which feels far too far ahead, but in the immediate future and over the next couple of years, where do you think this is going to evolve to?
We have, if I take the example, maybe not in the corporate customer segment, but if we take the example of the retail segment, it's already, I mean, cars which are equipped with the black boxes, it's a reality. It's a reality. There are already thousands of boxes into that. And what we can see is that the boxes are not just to see how many kilometers the driver is driving, but is how harsh is he pushing on the brake, how rapidly he is accelerating, etc. And that, on one side, can give us probably some ideas on the behavior of that driver. But even more importantly, it can allow us to tell this driver, you may have to look at your brakes efficiency much more often than somebody else. You might want to look at your engine efficiency much more often, because you use it in a different way. It doesn't necessarily mean that he will have more accidents. On the contrary. So I think we can already see some immediate consequences and opportunities even into our day life. Look at domotics and look at how houses are interconnected. If we are able, as insurers, to take all the data that are coming out of the connected devices to prevent losses from happening, if we see that all of a sudden there is, instead of a given flow into a pipe, that flow which shouldn't be there, because at night you're supposed not to do your washing machine, etc., and all of a sudden we see some flows coming in, that might mean that there is a leakage somewhere. So we may be probably activated even much earlier than after the third or fourth floor is completely flooded.
And just as a final point on that, heard Julia Graham ask the question about intangible risk. I mean, coming back to the corporate world, I mean, that seems like a huge topic at the moment.
I mean, as you know, before Firma, some of us were asked to put up some ideas and thoughts on the Firma website, and I was responding to what are the most the critical emerging risks that we see coming. And I deliberately said, okay, cyber is there, of course. We're not going to discuss cyber even because cyber is such a broad notion and so many people have talked about this, so I don't think I will add anything. But I think that the number one critical risk that we see today is business continuity on one side and reputation on the other side. And there are probably two sides of the same coin. If you open any newspaper in recent days, most of the things that you will read over there are all about very effective risk management or very poor risk management. Mm-hmm. And that has an immediate impact on the reputation. So one. Two, social media today have created a situation where anything that happens in a given place, in a blink of an eye, it's known throughout the world. Mm-hmm. And so you are exposed immediately to the entire population, one. And two, which is even more tricky, social media have created a situation where the recipient of the information may have a hard time in distinguishing whether it's true or not true. Mm. And still your reputation is exposed. So I do think that, broadly speaking, reputation, but as a result of a number of other elements, is one of the key aspects. And if you look at some poll or some reports that have been produced in recent times, reputation is still very high on the agenda of most corporations. Mm.
Oh, that's fascinating. Well, thank you for taking the time, Alex. I appreciate you were standing up for an hour. So
it has been a very interesting opportunity, and thank you, Mark, for giving me this space together with Firma TV. Thank you so much. Thank you.